one of the things that is typically discussed is optimizing these processes, because one thing is setting it up, pulling it off in a short period of time, and once that is set up, the problem statement of optimizing the processes kicks in. Now, based on your experiences, what are some of the practices that have worked in terms of optimizing the hiring funnels, if you look at it?
Well, that's a great question, and that's one of the questions that most TA folks, work with on a regular basis, right? See, you have very, like I said, one, the talent pool is limited, so the supply is very, very limited. Number two, your attention span of this talent pool is extremely limited. Number three, their opportunities are very high in numbers, right? Now, in this scenario, which is virtually not in your control, or not favoring you per se as a recruiter, there are only a few things that the recruiter can do, and do well. And if they do well, those remain the differentiators, right? One of them being creating that right employer brand, right? In the sense, what is it that you're communicating back to this community, right? And how much are you communicating? Are you actually over communicating this or not? uh, what does your brand stand for? What is the problems that they're solving? How well are they solving for? What is the current range of technology stacks that you use? And what is the sort of a peer group that you get to work in? This whole gamut of things that encompasses what is called as the employer brand is becomes very, very critical. So that is one factor which optimizes this. The second thing being your presence in social media, right? How do you communicate, and how do you interact with this particular community, and how often do you do that? How qualitative is your conversation with them? So this is the and this while you are talking, because this community is very, very active on sites like LinkedIn, Instagram, and so on. So you need to be communicating with them on a regular basis. Number three is you describing the purpose, like I said, describing the very purpose of your business, right? And the purpose of the person's work there, and how does that purpose of the person's work in your company relate to the purpose of the business, and how do you marry that whole impact that the person can create, right? Over and above this, where do you actually find this set of right candidates? I mean, where do you reach out to them? What is your methodology to communicate with them? These 4 5 points bring about the optimizing of the channels. And the most important among all of this, and the one thing which actually stitches through all of this, is the success of your employees. So, how many of your employees in the current scheme of things are successful in having practiced or on having problem solved for you? And how have they grown? Uh, how have they become success stories internally in your company or externally? And how have they been people who got developed as an individual personality, right? All this stitching together, 4 5 factors, optimize the way you are trying to get across to this particular community. Like I said, I mean, the approach to this community is not a very simple game, because it is complex because of a few factors altogether. One is uh, the tremendous amount of money that is coming into the Indian investing diaspora, and therefore the virtual ballooning of a lot of startups, right? And therefore the sort of problem statements that we are trying to solve for, and the and the real time advantaged technology that everybody is using. So today nobody talks about using an old time, just the Java game and stuff, right? I mean, you're talking about latest tech stacks that you're using, and therefore that differentiation is lost. I mean, you're not just talking to only the best caliber, you're talking to people who can work for you in scale. And therefore all of these matter in terms of optimizing that channel.